Berlin and the Lady with an Ermine. Episode 1 The Collection. Episode 1 of Berlin and the Lady with an Ermine starts with Berlin and Damien arriving at the coastal city of San Sebastian on their yacht. Damien suggests their new heist, robbing the Bank of Marbella, targeting the vault with deposit boxes. He argues that the bank is located in a city that is home to Russian millionaires, Arab sheiks, and the mafia, who store not only jewelry but also dirty money in the safety deposit boxes. Berlin thinks targeting this is high risk with no guaranteed return, so he has a new plan in mind. He takes Damien to a yacht party to mingle with millionaires while he sets his sights on the Duchess of Malaga, Genevieve Dantes. He introduces himself as Simon after helping her with a necklace mishap. The Collection. Episode 1 of Berlin and the Lady with an Ermine starts with Berlin and Damien arriving at the coastal city of San Sebastian on their yacht. Damien suggests their new heist, robbing the Bank of Marbella, targeting the vault with deposit boxes. He argues that the bank is located in a city that is home to Russian millionaires, Arab sheiks, and the mafia, who store not only jewelry but also dirty money in the safety deposit boxes. Berlin thinks targeting this is high risk with no guaranteed return, so he has a new plan in mind. He takes Damien to a yacht party to mingle with millionaires while he sets his sights on the Duchess of Malaga, Genevieve Dantes. He introduces himself as Simon after helping her with a necklace mishap. The Duke knows about Berlin and the chalice that was stolen in Madrid. He wants him to steal an original Leonardo da Vinci painting, The Lady with an Ermine, when it is brought to Seville as part of an exhibition on the Renaissance at the former Convento de la Merced Calzada, now the Museum of Fine Arts. Berlin is enraged that the Duke wants to use him as an errand boy and rants to Damien about how his robberies are masterpieces. He does not refuse the Duke's offer outright because he intends to teach him a lesson for the disrespect. He decides that they should make him their next target for a heist. If they reject him, he could report them since he has their information. Berlin argues that he is a bigger criminal, so he will not report them when they take what's his. Damien agrees and steps aside to call the rest of the crew. Meanwhile, a woman storms out onto a balcony, angrily yelling at her boyfriend and throwing clothes and records that scatter across the ground below. As the onlookers watched, she followed him outside, insisting that he leave because he had cheated on her, and he walked away. Berlin walks over to the woman, Candela, and makes small talk. When Damien comes back after calling the crew, Berlin excitedly tells him that Candela managed to steal his wallet while they were talking. Although he knew what she was doing, he let her do it and was impressed at her skills. Damien laughs, knowing that Berlin is more excited about getting his wallet from Candela later. Berlin's voice narrates what happens to the rest of the crew after the Paris heist. Kayla and Bruce fell in love and invited 1,500 of their friends to a party where Bruce was saying goodbye to sleeping around and partying to build a life with Kayla. They show up together to their meetup. On the other hand, Cameron and Roy were in a relationship for a while, but they separated. They arrived at the meetup separately and could not talk to each other. Damien returned home to an empty house after his wife left. To live with the loneliness, he spent more time at the university and even joined the teachers' paddleball league. Meanwhile, Berlin had bought a one-way ticket to Singapore to reunite with Camille, but Damien kept showing up at his house and pretending to run into him. Berlin decided to take him on a trip around the world until he finally accepted his new reality. With the team back together in Seville, Berlin and Damien update them on their new task, whose focus is not so much on what they steal but from whom. Their target is Álvaro Hermoso de Medina, the Duke of Malaga. Earlier during their meeting, Álvaro mentioned he wanted the Lady with an Ermine as part of his collection, but refused to divulge its location. Surprisingly, Berlin wants them to go after the collection, for which they have no idea what it entails or its location. Damien laughs off his logic, since it is similar to his suggestion to go after the vault in the Bank of Marbella. He thinks that Berlin's arrogance and ego are the reasons why he suggested the heist. He is angry that Genevieve lured him all the way to Seville, promising a date, but it turned out to be a meeting with her husband. In the end, they decide to stay for the collection heist, then later rob the bank to compare the loot and see whose plan was better. Later that night, Berlin makes Roy break into Candela's house. She pretends to be asleep while he looks around the place, but ends up shooting him with a BB gun. Meanwhile, the rest of the team conducts a deep search into Álvaro, and Kayla finds out that in 1999, he had a tunnel constructed from his house to his wineries, and an actual train goes from his mansion to the cellars. A year later, Bruce finds out that he moved everything from the winery and closed it, which they find strange. Cameron notes that he had a €1 million deduction from his tax returns in the same year from a security company based in Geneva, Nitax Private Security. Roy comes back without Berlin, and Damien is enraged that he was left to investigate the heist while he chased after Candela. Meanwhile, Candela helps take the BB out, and when he asks about his wallet, she says that the ex-boyfriend stole the shoebox it was in, together with her money. She suggested that they should go get it back, and before he could process it, she was already dressed, and they were driving to his place. They drive to an RV park, and he watches her storm over to the ex-boyfriend's door. When he fails to answer, She bars the door with 2 wooden planks and sets it on fire. Berlin steps out of the car and admires the chaos as Candela forces the ex-boyfriend to confess that he had cheated with his cousin. Candela then walks back to the car, leaving the neighbors to help the ex. Later, the police pull them over. The police step away to check on her license and registration. This is when she tells Berlin that the vehicle was stolen. Berlin already knew because it was hot-wired and had children's toys inside, but Candela had no kids. As the police are running the plates, they quickly switch seats. The police confirm that the car was stolen, and another police car blocks the road behind them. By this time, Berlin is behind the wheel and ready to drive out of this sticky situation. The episode review. We're back again, and in this season we follow Berlin on a revenge heist. This first episode starts slowly, which is a bit different from the high-octane action start we had in season 1. Still, the show picks up pace with the introduction of Berlin's new romance with Candela. Clearly, the show features a younger, more arrogant, and reckless version of Berlin. It makes sense that he starts a messy romantic relationship with Candela. In season 1, Berlin's heist was overshadowed by his romantic escapades, and it is too early to tell if that will happen in the season. Fingers crossed it doesn't. As with Money Heist, Berlin's new heist leans more on the psychological aspect of punishing the arrogant Duke. The heist is more about Berlin's ego and artistic vanity. It will be interesting to see how Berlin will carry it out. However, we have to ask, did they make the Duke look gullible so that Berlin comes out looking like a genius? Is the Duke a worthy opponent for this season? Overall, the show maintains its cinematic tone with the production elements, especially the cinematography. Seville is such a beautiful city and fits the dramatic style of Berlin's acting to show his romantic side. The music, as well as the camera angles used, helps to build up the romantic mood intended for the episode.